the truth of the matter is that on a map, if you're talking about a map, there's not. If you're talking about the globe, that's a totally different thing. So it's like,
All right,
like
perfect.
incorrect is incorrect. You know, is there definitely something east of Australia? Well, yes, there's something east of everywhere because the fucking world is a circle.
Yeah.
But when you make it and put it onto a flat piece of paper that's two-dimensional, and then you teach it to somebody and just like kind of only teach them parts of it, how are you like?
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, like that. So that's what I said. I was just like, look, I'm not worried about the grade. The grade's fine either way.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about, incorrect not being correct. Like incorrect is incorrect. But literally speaking, the answer wasn't there, and this one question redefined an entire test. And I don't think that is...
well, one, how do they not teach them that the world is a circle?
They do. They just never think to teach them that on a map, that means the right side connects to the left.
It wraps around.
Literally, people don't pick up the map and say, this is how it works. That would be like...
Well, isn't there globes in schools anymore?
Not really.
Because like that's the visual right there of you can just see it wrap around. Like
exactly.
Like me, I'm a very visual learner. Like you could explain things to me all day long in the most like deep detail, and I'll still be like, "What?"
Yes.
But if you show me, like this, here's how you do it. Here's what it looks like. Then I'm like, oh, okay, and then I can replicate it like that.
Yeah. And I mean, I said that. I was like, look, I'm not trying to be that parent. Incorrect.
But I'm going to be that parent.
Well, I was just like, incorrect is incorrect. I'm not worried about the grade. What I'm worried about is that I pointed something out to you a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is like a direct reflection of that. So hopefully by pointing this out to you, what I'm saying makes a difference.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the more, like, we were just having, like, this conversation last night, me and Alicia. We were, like, we were watching the VMAs, and it was, like, that typical, like, oh, God, like, this artist would come on, and we're like, who is this? And then it would be like, oh, this person, and we're like, who is that? Like, I don't know who that is. And then, like, it would go show a flashback, or it would do this, and it would do that, and we're just like, what? And then she was like, well, we're probably just at that point now where we're old, and we're basically like our parents looked at stuff. Like, oh, like, things are changing, and it's so bad and stuff, and, like, looking at it like our parents did, like, they just eye rolled and like, oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Well, see, no, I think that's very true, but it's also very not true.
Yeah, like, it's true to a degree. Like, I will see teenagers out and about somewhere and just look at them and be like, oh,
fucking
boy.
hoodlums.
Yeah, like, oh, here's these hoodlums, and then I'll be like, somebody looked at me like that at some point in my life, so...
Oh, yeah. Well...
well, I don't have any room to talk.
But also, like, I think that the whole, like, parents keeping an eye on the world that their kids live in type thing will always be a thing and has always been a thing. It, like, I mean, circa 1750, it was like, look out for that bear. Today, not quite so much.
No, kids, you can't play outside in the woods. There's bears and wolves and stuff that will eat you.
Exactly. But, like, I will say that when we were kids, I think the concerns were slower. And I think in a lot of ways they were closer to home.
Definitely things were a lot slower. Like, we didn't... Like, they had stuff... Our parents had stuff to worry about. But it was at a much, like... It was much more dialed back. Whereas the world is so fast now. Like, we have to be on our toes 24/7. Like, it feels like we have to be on our toes. We don't actually have to be on our toes 24/7.
Well,
as long as you're taking notice on, like, what's going on, what's happening.
I mean, I kind of feel like maybe
So-
you don't. You kind of do.
It depends on what kind of parent you are. There are some people that are, like, super hyper focused on, like, every little detail about every little thing.
I'm not every detail about everything. You really like you might want to reevaluate your perspective a little bit. You never come to my house.
I was at your house the other day. You never invite me to your house.
It's because your wife never leaves the house.
Yes, she
Except
does.
to go to Wegmans
She leaves the house.
or hang out with her friends. At any rate, I really am not like that all the time. Do I like watch a bunch of stuff and like keep close eye on a lot of things? Yes, but I'm not like that helicopter that's like.
No. You're not a helicopter. I'm not saying that you are like a helicopter, because you're definitely not. But you are like hyper aware of like all of the like little minuscule things that I feel like a lot of people just kind of like, it's not priority.
Yes. Well, and I personally kind of see that as part of the issue, because let's put it in context for a second. And this is going to be, no, it won't be really an extreme example, but it's an example that we don't want to visit nonetheless. Most kids have electronics today. Most kids have access to some sort of video service.
Mm-hmm.
We'll use YouTube as an example. YouTube is crowdsourced. It's open source. Anybody can upload. Anybody can download. There are filters. I'm not getting into the filters. If somebody uploads something in the middle of the night, it entirely, absolutely could be on a child's homepage when they wake up in the morning.
True.
And the parent will never have seen it. It could be the worst video. It, like, skirted everything, and it's there, and that child consumes that. And that's not just one child. That's every child that uses it. Like, it potentially, like, the reach is just exponential today.
Yeah. The reach for everything, it is huge. And I do think that, like, with the whole, like, YouTube thing and, like, how things can come across, like, kids' homepages and stuff, like, I feel like it's a big balance on, like, how YouTube goes about, like, fine-tuning how their algorithm refers things to people, etc. But they're, like, most of the time, like, my algorithm on my YouTube homepage changes so much, and it's all dependent on what I'm watching at the time. Like, if I'm getting into a bunch of, like, trophy hunting videos of, like, 25 hardest platinums on PlayStation, or the easiest platinums to get, or whatever, like, all of my YouTube recommended will flip, and it'll just be like, it'll be a lot of trophy hunting stuff, like, at the forefront. But then if I, like, scroll downward, there'll be, like, the typical things that I'll look at, like an Asmongold video, or a Mudahar video, or one of the streamers that I watch, one of their uploads to YouTube or whatever, like, the people that I'm subscribed to, it'll show there. But sometimes it'll show, like, a random video where I'm just like, how did that get there?
Mm-hmm.
But most of the time when I get to that point, I'm on a weird algorithm anyway, because I just watched a trophy video, then I watched a gaming video, then I watched a video about the dark side of Reddit, then I watched a video about the history of the NES, then I watch a video about how to use a mixer, or, like, just the most random thing. So YouTube's probably just like, I don't know what to recommend to this guy, just throw the kitchen sink at him.
So the thing that you got to remember is, like, the algorithm is, to a degree, dynamic. It does not actually switch. It takes data from a ton of different places and a ton of different data points, and then feeds it all into this big little, like, fucking blender and says,
Yeah.
Here's what I'm suggesting. Let's find things that match this criteria.
Yeah.
So it's ever evolving. It's not like A, B, C. It's more like A that you like bend and contortionist shift into
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Z.
Yeah.
But like when we were kids, I can't think of a way or time that we had literally potential exposure to 300 million plus people at any given point.
We haven't had, like, it's never been easier now to, like, get into contact with somebody or upload a piece of content. Like, dude, I see it on my Instagram reels all the time. There was a video of a very large woman, and she literally put her stomach on a table, took flour, sprinkled it on her stomach, and just went with a dough roller. And I was like, that person set a camera up on a tripod, recorded that video, probably multiple takes, went through the process of uploading it through Instagram, and then, like, that probably got fed by people, like, reposting it or sharing it or this and that. Like, I know what the whole thing is to, like, go through and post a video. Like, there's a lot involved to post. Like, for Instagram, no, it's not that hard.
Or she just tilted it against a book stack, and in 5 minutes it was up, and there was nobody that could ever think anything twice because, shit, it's on the internet. It's out there now. The reach is unstoppable.
Yeah. But, like,
China will know that you dough rolled your fat.
It's so...
They don't have Facebook in China.
It's
but
so crazy.
Do they have Instagram in China? They probably have their own.
Oh, something just popped up on my PC. What is it?
It's that virus scan.
You can go away for now. What? No, we're not doing a scheduled scan for drivers and stuff as I'm trying to record. I don't need it shutting down my whole thing in the middle of this. I want to... Oh, God. I want to check the Twitch information and see if it's actually the right... Okay, it is the... It is the right
Twitch. I'm twitching.
Because
Hello, I'm twitching.
when I was doing the test for the dual stream, it put my information in as Celeste when I wasn't playing Celeste.
You put it in as Celeste and didn't change it.
No, I updated it.
How ironic that it was Celeste
through everything. Okay. So a lot has happened since we last podcasted, Andy. In a single week, things have gone crazy in
Give it to me, baby.
my little corner of the internet that I like to spend my time watching.
No, stop that. You have a corner of the internet, but like the internet is a vast array of expanse that goes forever. It does not end. The internet knows no confines. You put it out there, and it's like the universe. What if the internet is a universe?
I mean, it pretty
Holy
much,
shit, that's an unlock. What if we have a universe, but the internet is a universe? What if we are just somebody else's internet?
I mean, that's pretty much what it means.
That's
to
the simulation
the
thing? Like, oh. I don't think we're in a simulation. The biology doesn't add up to technology, but the internet is a vast expanse of nothing and everything at the same time.
But a lot of things have happened in the corner of the internet that I like to watch. And we indeed got an update on the DrDisrespect drama that went down, a couple months ago.
I'm about to walk my way out of this conversation.
So he came back on stream. I think that was last week. Yeah, last week he came back. Last Friday he came back.
Was it the miner that did it?
Yeah. So last week he came back on stream, and he came on, he built it up, had a timer to count down. Everybody was through the roof excited because nobody really accepted the fact that he made the tweet that admitted all of the things that he was alleged to be doing to a degree.
First, red flag. The countdown timer, the hype.
Yeah.
It all points to grandiose marketing.
100%. And that guy knows how to play a crowd.
Which is surprising because he doesn't know enough not to talk to minors, but
yeah. So
in that way.
He came back. He kind of slowly worked up to it. It didn't take him long, and then he was like, "All right, I think it's time to tell my side of the story."
Oh, so he edged to it?
Basically, yeah. So he
Nice.
got to the point where he was like, "All right, I'm going to tell my side of the story." And he started talking about, I'm not going to go in word for word or whatever, but basically he said that, the guy that had come out originally about the allegations said that he was sexting a minor. He didn't in his tweet where he, admitted everything. He didn't admit to sexting a minor per se. He said that he had conversations with a minor that sometimes were inappropriate. So he didn't admit to sexting a minor. However, it's inappropriate conversation with a minor. The lines are a little blurred there.
So basically what he's saying is that he did not explicitly discuss penetration with a minor.
He didn't
Like,
speak.
I mean,
so
come on.
The lines are really blurred there.
Great, yeah. So let's call in Robin Thicke and ask all about blurred lines.
So,
I mean,
so he basically, to sum it up, he walked back on his statement. So he walked back on everything that he admitted.
hold up. He didn't walk that shit back. He pulled it back with a frickin' vengeance.
He said, he was like, I didn't...
It was reminiscent of Clinton,
he was saying that he put minor in there as bait to get all these journalists talking to give them their story. Dude, look.
Right.
If I'm in a position where that guy is, I don't care what's going on or what I'm trying to play. I would never put something like that as bait.
So that's...
that is the most insane thing that I have ever heard in my life.
That is...
Because if you don't want to be labeled that way, don't label yourself that way.
Well, right.
If you want to get so angry when somebody and all these people and journalists are labeling you a certain way, don't say it like that then.
So what he's doing is essentially portraying himself as a martyr. Like, oh yeah, I threw the bait out there to give journalists a story they wanted. I sacrificed myself.
And there was stuff that he was slow dripping leading up to his comeback.
Don't say that.
Of when he had a bobber in the ocean, and there was the tweet was at his bait on the hook, and then he ended up deleting the tweet, which is another
Why not?
insane. You don't think people have that saved? What is the point of deleting it?
It makes him feel better. This whole thing, if that's the case, you are literally the only adult in America with the fucking balls that big to go there just to give somebody a story.
Yeah, it just shows how insanely mental this guy really is.
Well, what it does is it shows how he understands that people will believe what they want to believe. He sees everyone out there, touting his innocence or wanting to support him.
Yeah,
he has
a ton of support. And let me be clear here. I know that there isn't hard evidence that proves anything that he did or didn't do.
Sure there is.
I understand that.
Somewhere there is. Nobody will ever see it.
Yeah, somewhere there's the hard evidence. We haven't gotten the hard evidence.
We don't need it.
It would be a cut and dry thing.
Well, that's the way it always is, but that's not how it works.
Yes. So, in my point of view and my beliefs, is if you go on a social media site and you admit that you had inappropriate conversation with a minor, and you use the word minor, that is enough.
He's not done like an interview about this.
No, he
Disrespect.
pretty much said that he's done talking about it until he has a reason to bring it up, and apparently he has things that he can like bring up if he needs to. He hasn't shown his full hand, so to speak.
He should come on our podcast.
Yeah.
So no, really, if people, like, the last time we talked about this, people got, like, involved.
Yeah, people got pretty heated, yeah.
Tag him. Pull him over. Let's talk about it. Mano y mano. You want, if you really are innocent, if you're so damn innocent, fine, come out here, we'll talk about it, and we can
Hi,
prove
Mel.
your innocence. What?
Mel popped in here.
Oh, hi, Mel. Yeah, no, like, let's talk about it, and if we can help you prove your innocence, we'll help you prove your innocence, and if you come out dirty as a skunk that we think you are, then go hide in a hole.
Andy's in Hawaii.
What the?
So, with...
This is a Miami shirt.
So, the thing that I think is if he truly is innocent, okay?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There are two things that he can do right now without, well, one of them is literally just showing the messages.
Even saying.
If he shows the messages, then fine. We're good.
Hold up. This was 2017.
Yeah.
Minor probably isn't a minor anymore.
Well, apparently what he said was they weren't a minor at the time of when the conversations were happening. Which, how does that make sense if you said that it was a minor in your admittance tweet? I don't know if that's exactly how you say it, but
here's the problem, though. If that minor, whoever was the minor, were to come out, they would be met with so much hatred from people who support disrespect that it would be intolerable. So we're basically suppressing the fucking truth by wanting to believe that our hero is innocent. And
apparently when he was in the whole suit with Twitch,
do we know his real name?
Guy Beam.
Guy Beam.
Yeah. So when he was in the
Jim
whole
Beam, but Guy?
No. When he was in the whole thing with Twitch and everything, he said that his old manager basically made Twitch they pressed the issue. Like they wanted him gone as this grand plan of getting rid of him because he fired them. So one, that's just insane. So the manager apparently was pressing all of the messages to Twitch, and Twitch was like, "Look, we don't see any wrongdoing. We're not going to take any further action." Well, that guy then put it into Twitch's legal department, and they said, "We don't see any wrongdoing. We're not going to move forward with it." Well, then apparently he pressed it further and sent it to the National something of Missing Kids or something like that. And that's when they looked into it or whatever. Apparently they didn't find any reason to do anything like that to move forward with it. So, but apparently this guy just had a vengeance like he was Batman and was just like, "I need to take him down." So all this stuff happened. He had this grand story. Apparently it wasn't a minor at the time, yada yada yada. It just doesn't seem likely that that's the truth.
Let's play this out. I got an idea. We're going to do something similar. I'm going to go down to Common Pleas, the circuit down in New York. Mm-hmm. The big one, 7 foot one, 7 foot one, 7-story one.
It's no Christian Bale.
Yeah. I'm going to turn myself into the sheriff's department. I'm going to tell them that over the past 5 years I've killed over 30 people.
Mm-hmm.
Which is totally not true.
Yeah.
And then all the journalists can write stories about it because that's going to make the news. And then they're going to find that I didn't do diddly squat.
Mm-hmm.
Checks out. You think I'm still going to jail for something?
I mean, I would hope not.
I will put money on it. They would find people.
They would find something to pin on you, yeah. I clipped your confession too late.
Whatever.
I'm going to hold it over your head now.
Okay. And I haven't, so. But this is my point, is like, you don't say you fucked up
unless
if you're
you
fully
fucked up.
innocent. Like, because then, like, you don't come back from that shit. Like, it don't work that way, bud. Like, I wouldn't do that shit if I was you.
Well, unfortunately, he is coming back from it. That's the problem.
And that's a public problem, not... Like, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, if people actually gave a shit, they wouldn't be, no, there's no way my hero did that.
That's I think is one of the big problems that we're having with, like, a celebrity of that size to get into hot water, and there wasn't, like, a big scandal that was made public. Like, it's all basically hearsay. You know, he said, she said. There's no hard evidence. Did he do anything illegal? Who knows? But it's not about what's legal and illegal. Like, that was what a bunch of people in our comment section on that video were saying. Was like, well, it's not illegal. He didn't do anything illegal. It's like, it doesn't matter if it's legal or illegal. It's what's moral and not moral.
So here's the problem that we run into. Celebrities or people with, celebrity status of some degree, or even the highest degree, live to a different standard than we do when it comes to that shit. Case in point, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Still fucking president.
Like, that's another thing too.
Perjury.
Like let's take it into, let's put it into, like, a context here. Like, at least from my point of view, if you're a 90-year-old man and you're sitting there flirting with an 18-year-old, I don't care if it's perfectly legal or not. It's a little creepy, don't you think?
I mean, the 18-year-old's going to point that out too. That's where the term
pretty creepy.
That's where the term creepy old man originates.
100%, yes. Like, it's creepy. If it's a 70-year-old talking to an 18-year-old, it's still creepy. Some places it's the age of consent is 17. If you're 47 talking to a 17-year-old, yes, it may be perfectly legal. Still creepy. It's still morally just like, ew. It gives you, it makes my skin crawl.
Well, and the weird thing is you have, like, all these, like,
dude,
young adult women, like, over 18 out there, and they're just like, I want an old man. It's like, what the?
Like, I'm in my mid-30s. I couldn't imagine being in the dating pool trying to flirt with an 18-year-old. In my mid-30s, I want nothing to do with an 18-year-old. Maturity-wise, like, we're just on two different levels here. And there's nothing going on here.
Well, yes, but you've got to remember that most people in society today aren't thinking about anything beyond the physical interaction.
Yes,
there.
But still, like, if you're in your mid-30s, you're not an 18-year-old, 21-year-old stallion.
Well,
you're just gonna, like, you're gonna just damage that person.
I mean, you can blame Pfizer for that, but
like, it's just weird. In my, like,
on a honey pack half of Cialis and 2 gas station pills.
Like, just to me, like, it's still just not okay. And the fact that you went on a social media site, admitted to talking to a minor, it's something just doesn't add up for me. Like, there's something that we haven't seen, And the way that he clears it up, if he really wants to just get it cut and dry, all you need to do is leak the messages or show the messages, show us exactly what happened, show us what went down, what was said, what was inappropriate, and let us decide. Or here's the two options that I would say.
That's not an option.
Is if he would release the information, or for him to sue the person that came up with, like, released the allegations in the first place, sue them for defamation.
He did.
Did he?
That's the lawsuit that got hit with Twitch.
No.
Well, that was a release of information.
That was a breach of contract.
Right. Well, that's where the NDA came from.
No, like when after he just
here's the
came
thing.
on stream and he went after the person that leaked the allegations and why the allegations came to light.
You can't sue anybody for defamation if it's true.
That's exactly my point.
Right. So
if he doesn't sue the guy and if he doesn't show the messages, what is he hiding then?
Everything.
Exactly.
Dude, seriously, like all he has nothing to lose.
It's insane to me that all of the support that this guy had and still has, even after going on social media, admitting all that and this and that, like, dude, it is alarming. Like, I understand that there's no physical evidence. Like, I understand that. But you have to just, like, have to look at everything and think about it for half a second and be like, I don't know.
Pause. Start button. There is physical evidence.
Stuff that was brought to light. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, no, that's my point. It exists.
Yeah.
It's there somewhere. It hasn't come out, and there's a reason for that. Whether it's the NDA, I don't get it why there would be like a non-disclosure agreement when Twitch was the defendant in that case. Like, it doesn't really, benefit them to be like, you're not going to release this. It benefits him.
And here's the other thing too. Like, look, if I'm a businessman, okay, which is what he is. He's a businessman. He's got all these. He had all these sponsorships from NFL teams to big gaming brands to, like.
Don't minimize that term that way.
So, if I'm in that position and I've got all of these things surrounding me, if I'm literally putting the word minor in the thing as bait, do I really want to put it in there as a flight risk of losing all of the sponsorships and stuff? Because here's the point. If, allegations come out and, they're saying all of this stuff, naturally he's going to step back, talk to his lawyers and be like, all right, how do we approach this? What do we do here?
I know how we can figure it out. Lake right down the street. You got a rod? We're going to go get a fucking $180 fillet. We're going to get a Wagyu. And we're going to put that shit on a hook and throw it and see how it feels. That's the equivalent of what we fucking did here.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing. Like, the way that he went about it and just basically put his tweet to the world, admitted the allegations, and used the word minor. If it's not what you did, why are you admitting that word? If it's bait or not, like, if it's something that you didn't do, why would you admit something? The course of action should be, none of the allegations are true. We are going to be taking legal action to some degree.
We need him to come on here and talk to us about this.
That's never in a million years going to happen.
Why? You're not going to let it?
I would love to.
Give me Guy Beam? Give me 15 minutes. I can get him on the phone.
Yeah, right.
I'll bet.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced. I still stand with my original stance of something just isn't right.
Are you shitting me? The day you brought this up and you said we need to talk about this, you were practically fighting me on it, and I was going off about how much of a piece of shit this guy was.
Well,
and now you're
I'm
like,
not going to that level. I'm not being like, this guy's a fucking piece of garbage. Like,
he is. Look what he's doing.
I'm just simply stating I really want this to just be cut and dry. Like,
well,
just
yeah, everybody wants
somebody
everything to be
leak
cut
the
and
stuff.
dry.
I really just want to see it. That's what I really want.
I don't care if he's completely innocent, guilty. I don't care if he didn't do anything wrong at this point. Everything he's done since then is wrong. He's a piece of shit for how he's handled it, not even for doing it.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't sit well. Like, the more that I sit and ponder on it, the more I'm just like, God, like, he's...
443 867 5309.
867-5309.
Why did you have to give that away before she tried it?
What?
Now she knows. Before, she might have actually dialed it and tried it. Figured it out.
So, there was another crazy thing that happened in my little corner of the internet, Andy, is if you've ever been on the food side of YouTube.
Oh, God.
There is a guy named Nikocado Avocado. And he does...
Wait, what?
Nikocado Avocado.
Okay, I'm glad you said that more clearly that time.
He's in this little special niche called mukbangs or mukbangs or whatever the hell, however you pronounce them. He started doing this, like, I think it was like 7 or 8 years ago. It might be more. I don't know the whole timeline of the guy. He basically just has this big giant tray of food for people who don't know what this is. Hi, Christy. He has like a crazy amount of food, like just insane amounts, and he just eats it in the most disgusting way, just shoving it in his mouth. Well, he used to be like a pretty relatively skinny guy. He was very well respected in violin. He went to Juilliard. Like, his accomplishments as a violin player is actually insane. So he got really fat.
But can he beat the devil?
Joe, that's what I do. I just show up insanely fat, and I gradually just grow just a little bit more. I eat
a cheeseburger every day for that guy that commented on our video.
So he got really fat.
Really fat.
And he just released a video.
Like
last week.
Last week?
Shut up, Andy. He just released a video last week where he was really skinny. Like, really skinny.
Really skinny.
I fucking hate you. So he had a big panda head on, and it was titled 2 Steps Ahead. And he had this big thing where he was like, you know, I'm always 2 steps. He basically gave like a Joker monologue. He was just like, all you people are just little ants, and you believed everything I did. And you sat there and made fun of me all this time.
They did.
Well, guess what? And he took the helmet off to reveal that it was him under there, which, I mean, there was no denying. He had the signature shirt on, blah, blah, blah. And the way he was talking, he was really skinny. He has been drip-feeding content on his YouTube for 2 years as if he was still super fat. He hasn't made a video in 2 years. And I was just like, holy shit, that is the craziest thing. Like, to just, like, one, to have that as a thought that far in advance.
You think that's crazy?
To my little pea-sized brain, yeah.
Well, I mean,
Like, to have the idea to be like, all right, I'm going to drip feed these stupid little fucking internet trolls. I'm going to strip feed all this content to them, and I'm just going to make them believe it. I'm going to watch them, and they're all going to fucking make fun of me, and they're all going to point and laugh and say that I'm going to die and this and that, and then all of a sudden, boom, I'm just going to pop up one day, and I've lost 250 pounds.
And the great thing in that is that he lost all that weight and he's healthy now.
100%.
But outside of that, it didn't
But
gain shit.
In the world of YouTube, like, to play that kind, like, that advanced kind of, like, it's not even a prank, like, it's just like he called it a social experiment, which, I mean, I guess it pretty much is. It was basically just like a social experiment. For somebody to do that and have the mind to, like, play it out and actually execute it,
it's a manipulation.
as well as he did, because nothing leaked.
It's a manipulation.
Which is insane. But it also makes me think, like, that guy might have a screw loose.
Well, I don't know that screw loose is right, but he definitely has some psychopathic or sociopathic
It's
tendencies.
definitely yeah. But
There's
dude,
some,
props to him, because that is wild.
I mean, I'm proud of him for the weight loss.
100%.
And
that was a lot of weight to lose. He had to have worked insanely hard. To think about how long, because, like, when you're at that level of YouTube and you're making, you're at that level of YouTube, you're obligated to, like, make a certain amount of content, per month, per year, like, to keep everybody interested. And, like, to have this plan of, like, this is what I'm doing for this amount of time, and then I'm going to take 2 years off, get really skinny, and not make any appearances at all, that takes a lot of discipline, planning, and just a lot of, like, basically just being a hermit.
I'm very disappointed that the public, or the audience, whatever you want to call them, isn't self-reflecting more on their ability to be led into the lie and be gullible and believe what they watch as being true. And
that's the thing that I think is, like, the genius behind the whole thing, is, like, it was basically like a, hey, just because you see it on the internet and you portray it as real life doesn't mean that it's actually real life.
Right. Like, well, and that's the thing, like, that's the Hallmark problem with a lot of people today, is that they accept the virtual
everything
space.
they see on the internet. They're just like, it has to be true. It's on the internet.
Well, and most of it isn't, though. Like, that's like, that was what saved our asses when we were kids. Was like, don't believe what you see on the internet. Okay, I won't believe it. Today, it's like, did you see what happened on YouTube yesterday? What?
Yeah.
Like, cable TV is going out. Real news channels are going away, and people are just, oh, internet news. Okay, cool. What's this news site? Akachikakaka. Whoa, they're saying that
Yeah.
there's a tax rebate of $3,000 for everybody who has a penis.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah, dude. And that's another thing that we're gonna get into here in a second. Actually, no. We'll just go into it now.
Al Jazeera.
What?
Al Jazeera.
What?
Punch Bucky Red.
I hate you so much. I guess this kind of ties in for the topic that we were going to go on to next, is the amount of fake news on social
There's
media.
so much fake news on the social media these days.
That, like,
The social medium.
I'll give you, like, an example of like what I see in my feed is, like, I'll scroll through, like, my Facebook, and it'll have, like, these things that might interest me, like, from a person that, makes a blog or whatever, and then they're like, you might like this since I hear you talk about it sometimes to your friends. It's mainly, like, game related, or, ironically enough, wrestling related, even
For
though
you.
Yeah, for me, yeah, that's what I said.
That's all you look at.
No, I don't look at like wrestling stuff. I will click on like, rumors or what have you, but it's beside the point. So it'll literally have like this article that's just like, you won't believe who's popping up in WWE tomorrow, and it's like
Mr.
a picture of like a person that's clearly not gonna go, and it's literally just trying to get people to clickbait. That's all it's trying to do for whatever reason. And then there's like all of these other
advertisements,
all these other sites that are like, this person's like analyzing a match from a pay-per-view, and then this person's analyzing the same match from the pay-per-view, and it's like they didn't even watch it. Like the way that they like review it and describe it, it's like none of that happened at all.
Dude, that's the glory of a website. You can just freaking put up a website and type whatever the hell you want and pretend and imagine, and it's called fiction, and they used to publish it in books and put them in a special section of the library so people knew it was full of bullshit. Damn it.
And like the amount of like, if you search anything at all, if you click on anything political, it is a puke fest of just the most ridiculous stuff. And that is the problem. That's the biggest problem, because everybody needs to have their identity with their politics. We're not going to talk about politics, but the problem with the world is everybody needs all of these identities.
Well, if you can make somebody believe that your opposition, like throws people off a fucking cliff for fun, that's an extremist example, but
yeah,
I can't bring up the real example. I don't want to, because I don't want to argue about it. But
yeah, like that's the thing. Like people don't read into things because that takes time and energy, and people don't want to do that.
Well,
and literally they will just make the headline current running president eats babies, and people are like, oh my god, and then they share it on Facebook, and then their grandma sees it and they're like, oh my god, they eat babies, and they share it to their friends, and then their friends read it like, oh my god, did you see he ate babies? And then they send it, and it's just this trickle-down effect of everybody. And you walk into a building and they're like, did you hear that so-and-so eats babies? I know, I can't believe it, I saw it on Facebook. Yeah.
So at which point does somebody sit there?
If you click the article, it's just a picture of someone's asshole.
So right, but like at which point does somebody in that chain, like, I feel like previously in this episode of Humanity, somebody in the chain was like, the fuck did you just say? What kind of bullshit are you thinking here? And then they're like, does he really do that? No. Does he really do that? No. Does he really do that? No. Well, does he really do that? Well, let me click on the link and find out. Oh my god. He doesn't do that at all.
It's a picture of someone's behind.
Like, literally, the world has become one big fucking game of telephone.
Yeah. Like, somebody told somebody, and then they were supposed to relay it to 1,000 people past them, and it just got turned into the complete opposite and then some.
Or it's like the playground in 5th grade where it's like, oh, did you hear that Jeffrey is gay? And it's like, we're in 5th grade.
Yeah.
What did he do? Like, in 5th grade? I don't even think that
he was playing with Barbies.
Oh my god. Okay, so I'm in a better direction than I was going to go, but
he's playing in the play. He's playing the main character in Hairspray musical.
Right, and that's the problem we have, is that people are spewing these things that are, generally opinion, freedom of speech, okay, whatever. And it just permeates as if It's true. And eventually you hear enough of that and people, this is literally what they call brainwashing.
Yeah.
Like what
Yeah.
you were watching in current day America is very, very similar to what occurred in Nazi Germany when Hitler decided, I'm going to, get everybody on my side and go do whatever the fuck I want. We all
Yeah.
know what that became. But it's not as bad as politics. It is fucking politics. Like that is literally
that's
permeated
the problem,
society.
Everything has come to that because we've run into this in the world that we live in with everybody's like I'm gonna stray a bunch in this.
Uh-oh.
Like when I was a kid, especially in high school. When I was in high school, I wasn't a popular kid by any stretch.
Well, that I can verify.
I was a skater. I played music. Like
Whoa,
it wasn't
whoa.
wasn't the cool thing to do. I
saw you do like
kid.
3 tricks on a skateboard. You need to be careful with the skater term.
So, like I was always like this outcast, basically. If you want to,
Yeah.
So when I grew up. It was like, I need somewhere, like I need something to give me that sense of belonging. Like I need to belong somewhere.
Needs to belong.
But as I get older and more mature, I realize how ridiculous that is because I don't need a place to belong. Like, yeah, it's nice to be in a community where I can share my interests with like-minded people that have the same interests as me, and we can talk about the interests, and it's a good outlet to talk. But I don't need that. Apparently, everybody in the world needs that. They need that sense of belonging, or that approval from everybody. So they jump on what's popular, what people are talking about on social media, or what's going on in the news, especially if you're working at a big place of work and there's multiple people you see on a daily basis. You're naturally going to start latching on to things that they talk about. Which a lot of places is going to be politics because that's just the nature of what everybody just jumps onto.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't think that everybody. Let me restate that. Everybody, like any human, unless they have something seriously, deeply rooted that is unwell.
We all have that to some degree. Everybody has it.
Well, yes, but what I'm saying is that every human also needs acceptance and somewhere to call home.
100%.
They have that's a basic human need. It's a physical need to feel shelter, and part of that shelter is feeling accepted by somebody.
Yeah, 100%.
There are independent people out there, but even those independent people find their place.
They or even then, like they have those moments where they feel lonely. They feel alone. They want something at that moment, not necessarily seeking it, but
right. And she doesn't jump into craziness. I'm going to jump into traffic, but politics at its root, like let's break down that word real quick. So politics, poli. What other words do we have with poli? Policy, policies. That was literally the point of politics was, hey, we are people who establish policies or guidelines, rules for living. Had nothing to do with this nonsense that we've made it in modern society.
yeah.
But that's what it is now, so we have to play by that game. Everyone's trying to find, where they belong, and then you combine that with the idea of political parties, where it plays on that human need to belong, and then what happens when you have, well, you think that the house should be blue, and I think it should be gray. We can't agree. So let's see what the neighborhood thinks, and then we just wind up with two groups of, 30 people each who think the house should be blue and gray, and we've arrived at no fucking decision. Nobody's sitting there saying, let's mix blue and gray together and see what we get. Nobody's saying half the house one color, half the house other.
Yeah,
All
or
30 of
let's
them.
paint the house gray and then paint the shutters blue.
Right, shit like that. Compromise.
Yeah.
Everybody on that team is saying blue, gray, blue, gray. And at the end...
And nobody, like, another thing, too, is, like, a lot of people... I've been finding this more often than not, is people don't get, like, there is no give and take.
No.
Like when you're having a conversation with somebody, like, back and forth, and you're trying to arrive at a conclusion, or you're trying to work something out, like, trying to come to a compromise. It's like, look, I want to plant roses in the garden, but you're dead set on...
Fuck you, I want sunflowers.
You're dead set on sunflowers. Like, can we do, like, sunflowers in the middle of the roses or something? Like, can we... And they're just like, absolutely not. That's so dumb. Why would you even think sunflowers belong with roses? Are you stupid?
I remember that conversation.
Well, I never even had that conversation.
Are you sure?
100% never.
I thought that was like the garden conversation 2 years ago.
No, she said she wanted roses, and I was like, I don't give a shit. Go ahead.
Oh. Okay, I don't remember it going that way, but
no, I could care less what's planted in a garden, but it's just like just as an example, like that's how crazy things are getting.
To your point, it is not give and take. It's all me all the time. What I want, or go the fuck home. And I think that really truly is rooted in this whole you do you society, where it's like, I'm worried about me.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's not how it's supposed to be, because there's a very, 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 very old saying from ancient Africa, and I believe it goes, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, Habari watoto wote. And it literally means...
Hold on.
I may have confused... I need to figure out...
You know what you just made me think of?
What?
I just imagined you as Mr. Cheezel in Grandma's Boy. when Samantha goes in and he's there and he's like on his desk doing like this yoga pose, and she goes, "Hey, Mr. Cheezel," and he goes, "Ah, Samantha, have a seat." And she comes in and she sits down, like, and he goes, "Would you like this new tea? It's a new brew. It's dandelion nettle blend." And she sips it, and it's absolutely disgusting. She just like spits it back into the cup, and he's like this big like spiritual guy. That's exactly what I thought of.
At any rate, I'm pretty sure my mind just crossed wires and I said, "How are the children in African?" But the point I was getting at was it takes a village, and they say it takes a village because it does. It takes a village. You need to worry about the village and not about each individual person in it. Your happiness is important, but worrying about the village does not mean you are not important. It means that you see the bigger picture and the collective that it's going to take to make it to the future.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like we get through together as a whole. Like everything that we do affects somebody at some point.
Oh shit, I gotta leave.
Why?
Because somebody noticed my tattoo.
What?
Somebody noticed my tattoo.
What tattoo? Which one?
Are you really gonna call attention to it?
Dude, I don't pay attention. I don't know what the hell that is.
You've never seen V for Vendetta?
I have, but it's definitely not in my repertoire.
It's a Guy Fawkes mask.
Uh-huh.
But it's commonly affiliated with Anonymous.
Oh, yeah, I know. You already said that when we had Joe and them on.
Oh, okay.
Because Figsy pointed out your tattoos.
I am not affiliated,
but yeah, like we have to.
It's driving A-Ray.
I don't know.
We got to take care of each other. We have to, like, at some point, humanity has to accept the fact that your fucking neighbor is there doing the same shit you are.
Yeah, everybody's doing the same thing that
fight.
you are.
And that there is no frickin' reason for you to not give a little when they're like, hey, do you care if I hang out my stinky ass laundry? And you come over and you're like, why is your fucking dog shitting in my yard? And they're like, I'm sorry, I didn't know my dog took a shit in your yard. Can I clean it up? And you're like, no, it already shit in my yard.
I already called the HOA. They're coming tomorrow. You'll get a letter.
Yeah, like, don't be a frickin' asshole.
Because it comes back to, like, you don't know what's going on in somebody else's head. You know, like, that's a huge thing for me that I try to remember when I'm, you know, interacting with other people is, like, you know, somebody says something rude to me and I'm just like, all right. Like a stranger especially. Like if they're rude to me in some regard, I'm just like, okay. How am I going to play this? Like back in the day, I would have just ripped at them without even thinking. Like just blasted off whatever at the mouth and probably gotten into a fight. But now I'm just like, all right, look, the reason that you're being rude to me right now for literally nothing at all is probably because you're having a bad day or you're just miserable for some reason. Something happened in your life that you're currently going through. I'm just going to choose to kind of ignore it. Like, I might acknowledge it and be like, okay, like, give them a little sarcasm and be like, yeah, I noticed what you did. Or just be like, okay, and just walk away and it didn't even bother me. Like, I've gotten burnt by a ton of friends and, you know, I've been through my fair share of shit. So it's like, I don't have time to spend on all this bullshit.
Well, the matter of fact is, yeah, you do, but you don't want to.
It's not worth the time or the energy.
It's not. Well, and it's not. That's the thing. It's not worth it. But for the right person, for really any person, if it were really necessary, I think you'd do it. And I think that's what makes you...
if it's somebody that's just... Like, if I'm out somewhere and someone's just making it a point to be an absolute dick to me...
Well, there's a difference between when it's time to stand up for yourself and when it's time to deal with a little bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, if, for example, the day that Pop passed, we went to the nursing home very, very early in the morning because he passed before sun came up. And then we went to breakfast, and then we went to church that day. And when we were coming back, I had to stop at the gas station, and somebody bumped into me, and they actually shoved me after they bumped into me. And they were like, what the fuck's your problem? Can't you see I'm walking here? And I'm sitting there, and I'm like... You know, at that in my body, in my mind, I'm like fight or flight, fucking fight.
Yeah.
And then I stop and I'm like, you know what? We bumped into each other. You don't need to react that way, but let's just go on with our day, please.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, same kind of thing, you know, like when you go through something like that, like when I lost my mom and I was kind of navigating the day to day, you know, somebody just somewhere, like, you know, on a game or something, like, you know, would make a joke or something or say something, and it was like, well, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, what are you going to say? I feel horrible for you in that regard because there are times that even I'm like there and I'm like, you know, we're going back and forth and I'll type something and I'll say something and I'm like, oh shit, I'm not gonna say that. I can't fucking say that.
Yeah, like you have to just like realize that people sometimes go through a lot of shit. Like, you know, they could be dealing with the loss of, you know, a parent or at the absolute worst a child or
nope, you will never find me in that capacity.
Like, you know, people are going through a lot of stuff and like now more than ever, the thing between your ears is not where you want to be. So it's like you got to be mindful of, you know, what your friends might be going through, what your family might be going through.
That word.
The word.
Mindful.
Yeah, just like...
Spatially aware.
Yes.
Using the main engine.
knowing what people are going through, or just noticing like how somebody could be off, their body language, the way that they're carrying themselves that day. Like, you can pick up on that stuff pretty. I don't know what that word means. The fucking demure shit.
Demure.
What does that mean? Because it was like
read the room, except
it was a thing for a hot minute on like short form content, and I just didn't. I never.
It's the way that humans portray their feelings in a physical capacity.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, like I can pick up pretty well like when something's just not right, especially if it's with a friend or, you know, a family member. It's just like, hey man, you seem a little off. What's going on?
You never say that to me.
Because I don't really care about you, Andy.
Fuck. Jesus Christ. You know, I'm glad you brought that up.
You walked yourself into that one.
Well, I've been wanting to mention to you that, like, I kind of feel like you don't really want me here anymore, and, you know.
That's a false statement.
Like, I feel like your wife.
Sometimes you make me want to take this very sturdy microphone cord and just do, like, 1 or 2, maybe 3 loops if I'm feeling, like, really, like, saucy, and just pull it tight around your neck.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else.
But no, you allow me. You are the literal reason why I am able to sit down here and do what I'm doing here. I could not do this alone.
I appreciate that. That's very true. You would.
There's just one thing that I really wish you would do.
If you say anything about the fucking shirt.
No, you can wear whatever shirt you want. It's the thing right there on your leg.
Oh, fuck off. And that's an accommodation.
That there. No.
This is a perfect example of give take, though.
No.
This is an example of
you
give
draw.
take.
You draw the line. You draw the line. If you're sitting here and we have 5 people in our chat.
5.
We have 5 people in here.
Well, maybe I will put it away now.
If no matter if we have 1 person, 0 people, whatever, we are posting this content to.
I got a public
either entertain or for people to take a dookie all over the content we make, whatever the case may be.
I just got a public fucking talking to. I was going to use this as a good example of give take, and he gives me a public ramming.
It is rude. Like if me and you are having a heart-to-heart conversation, face-to-face, we're having this whole conversation. It's very heartfelt. We're talking about our feelings. We're getting into some deep conversation. If you're just sitting there pouring your heart out to me, and I'm just like, how slighted do you feel?
I would feel very slighted. Now that you've portrayed it in that manner, maybe I understand. Maybe we should make this a little bit more personable. Maybe we should get a couple beers, put a table back here, or a couple cups of coffee, so it feels like we're sitting down at a cafe or something and just having a conversation on mic.
Every time we come down here, we get in. It's getting into a certain mode because you have to get everything squared away, set up, and then you have to have the topics all typed out, and we have to figure out how we want to transition or how we want to. Go about talking things, and then as we talk about them,
say how we want to transition.
We start having the conversation. We lead, we bounce off each other. The whole spiel. Like we don't have a script that we're following. We have topics that we want to talk about over here.
I'm going to use this as an example for everybody. Now that you have conveyed that to me, I will try to do better.
See, but I've
I thought you were joking before.
No,
clearly not. Okay.
I think one of either.
Those people. Look, if you have.
These are loyal viewers that we are talking to here. You respect that.
They are great.
You watch your tone.
I enjoy them and I value their opinion. But you get a switch with me. Either I take the commentary and I take it to heart, or I take it at face value.
Huh?
What?
What?
Now I'm those people. I invite you to move out of Kansas and come have a seat next to us.
Now, I forget what we were talking about.
Politics,
No.
social media.
Oh, that we were on the social media
Fake
thing.
news.
Oh, no, we were talking about being kind and just, like, noticing how, you know, if somebody's off or whatever, you talk to them. Yeah. Read the room.
Yeah, read the fucking room, asshole. I'm leaving.
See what you did? This is your fault. This is all your fault.
Kansas. Is it Arkansas?
It was Arkansas. Arkansas.
I couldn't remember if it was Arkansas or Kansas. At least it didn't say Mississippi or Iowa or fucking California. Like, oh, she's in California. No, she's in Arkansas, asshole. She's in the Midwest. How are the Jayhawks doing? Oh, shit, they're Kansas.
I don't even know what you were talking about there. What's the Jayhawk? Is that a hockey team?
No, they're the college team.
For what?
University of Kansas Jayhawks.
Sport, dingus.
All of them? The fucking college doesn't switch. They're all Jayhawks. Whether it's football, basketball, or whatever.
Shows how much I pay attention.
But in my case, I was thinking NCAA basketball.
I guess they don't switch. Yeah, I guess that's true. That makes sense.
Dude, the fucking school district by me just had a shit show over their freaking mascot logo thing.
Yeah, I guess you got a point there.
So actually, the elementary school didn't use the new
old
logo.
We are definitely not smart.
Old logo.
We're two idiots in a basement recording a podcast. That's what you want to call it.
That's not true for me, but I'll act like it.
So what do you think of Warped Tour coming back?
I hope so much that it does, and in every capacity that it did, that it was in when we were kids. But it's not going to be that. It's going to be like a reduced tour schedule. It's going to be expensive as fuck. They're not going to rely on sponsors to really fund it. They're going to rely on the ticket sales.
It's going to be a train wreck.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a tour. It's going to be a fest.
No, they can't do that. If they do that, I will personally quit my job and set out on a vendetta to end that thing. You do not bastardize the name of Warped Tour in that way.
How many dates was Warped Tour? Like
Jesus,
the original
dude, it
Warped
ran
Tour?
through like the beginning.
It was like the whole summer.
Yeah, it was the beginning of June. And they started out in California and they went around the country until the end of August.
Yeah. So
I think it was like 60 dates.
It's definitely not going to be 60 dates. It's going to be...
No, boy, I would be happy if they did 30.
It's not even going to be that many.
Or 50. I think if they did a stop in every state, that would be neat.
I agree. That would be a smart thing to do. But that's not what it's going to be.
Well, and it also wouldn't make sense because like you've got New Hampshire, Vermont, Rhode Island right there. I think you could probably cover all three of those in one show. Whereas like Pennsylvania, are you really going to be able to do one?
Certain states you would have to do multiple stops.
Right.
But no, it's going to be I'm going to throw this number out there. I think it's going to be 10. I think it's going to be 10 stops. And it'll be like in quadrants. If you like look at the country,
stop, it hurts.
It'll be like 2, 2,
fucking
2,
hurts.
2.
I'm gonna kick you
4,
in the
6, 8, 2
frickin' dick.
So it's gonna be like split, and they're going to load it up. It's gonna be every stop is going to be a weekend like festival.
Well, look at fucking.
They're gonna do it in a big, huge area. You're going to have to either stay at hotels or they're going to offer camping probably on site.
Oh, that's a nightmare. Do you remember how the last camping excursion went?
I'm not a Warped Tour expert.
No, they took like emergency fucking. No, this wasn't Warped Tour. They did like this camping getaway with like a music fest, and they had to have emergency flights out because people had like bagged lunches that had like one slice of cheese in them, and like it was literally a humanitarian situation.
Yeah.
And that, well, I think actually, Live Nation may have been involved in that.
So, it's going to be like very limited stops. It's going to be a weekend long. It's going to be more of a fest than a like tour. They're going to load it up.
Stop.
They're going to load it up. Think of any nostalgic emo / punk band. They're going to be on the bill.
There's no way they'll fucking play that shit. They're not going to go for that. They better not go for that.
They might not, but there's a lot to choose from when you got the pick of the litter. So, and there's going to be lots of incentives that Live Nation is going to make promises for. And it's going to cost for a single date, it's going to be $500.
That's not Warped Tour.
The weekend is going to cost you like $1,200 to $1,500.
Burn it down.
You're gonna have that's not including your place that you're staying.
Burn it down.
And they're gonna load it up, and it's going to sell out.
You think Kevin Lyman's gonna let that shit fly?
100% because he's gonna get fucking filthy rich.
He already is.
Gonna be more filthy rich.
I don't think he will do that. He doesn't seem. I don't know. When I met him, he didn't seem like a sellout.
Here's what's gonna happen. Live Nation will be like, "This is our idea," and he's gonna be like, "That's not really what it's about," and they're gonna be like, "Shut up. That's not why we put you here. We put you here to make people trust us so that we do it right, and this is your idea."
Well, I mean that's a good pitch. That's a good angle, but I don't know, man.
People are going to flock to it.
No.
100%.
Not for $500.
It's going to. If it's $500, people will drop it in a second.
We're all a bunch of broke emos.
I didn't say I would go to it.
Well,
I look at $100 concert ticket and I'm like, hell no.
You're not. You do realize that you're not too terribly outside of the realm of like normal emo, elder emo, right?
I understand that.
Like we're all.
There is one time that I paid $100 for a ticket. One single time. And do you know who that was to see?
Probably Story of the Year.
The Smashing Pumpkins.
Fucking what?
And do you know why I paid $100? Because it's the Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah.
And we were literally
who else
at the row where they walked through to like they did like this like weird cart thing, and they like walked past, and I was like, this was 100% worth $100. But if I was looking at I look at going to see my favorite band, Story of the Year, and I'm like, $100 for that ticket.
Do you know who else is being screwy with this? Linkin Park's next world tour has 6 shows total, and only 2 are in America, in L.A. and New York.
That's the problem.
Damned be everybody in between.
If you want to do it, you're gonna have to spend all the money. Because that's how you get people on, is you make it a...
$100 is cheap.
We live in a... How much, Mel, let me just ask you a question here.
I need to go vape.
I need to ask you this question.
What?
You can't just leave in the middle to go vape.
Can I vape here?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
I think I can.
No, you cannot.
I'm gonna.
I will kick you off this podcast.
I'm gonna.
How much are you willing to spend to go to a concert? Let me just ask you that question.
Depends who the artist is.
It's a must-see. I've been doing that a lot tonight. It's a must-see for you.
Must-see for you.
What's the price point of where you're like, I would definitely go see that, and I'm not missing it? What is your price point there?
What is your price point?
Tell us the price point.
Tell us.
Put it in the chat.
In the chat.
What's your price point?
Price point.
Price point.
Price point.
What's the price point?
Price point. Fucking what?
Holy shit. What?
I'm in the wrong line of work.
Holy. Okay. All right. We need to have a. Mel, I mean this respectfully. Respectfully. You're part of the problem.
I'm not repeating that. I'm already in enough shit.
Ugh.
What the?
Look.
Like, dude, that's...
You could... Like, let me think about that.
That's more than my paycheck when I was 21.
Let me think about that for a second. What? There is no artist... Yes, I know Pink.
Are you...
I'm coming up, so you better get this party started. Yeah, I know Pink.
Holy shit, I'm insulted.
I wouldn't spend $100 to see Pink. I wouldn't spend $50 to see Pink.
Dude, I wouldn't. I'm not 21 either. I'm just saying that's
There's
a lot of fucking money.
More that I could do with $2,000. That would be way better than seeing Pink.
Yeah, like Pink once. Okay, cool. YouTube it. $2,000, $2 fucking grand, $2,000 fucking dollars.
Now, was that just for a ticket, or was that like including travel and hotel stay? I'm assuming that you needed to stay in a hotel for it, but
I went to fucking Orlando to see Anne Boleyn's final show and did all of it for less than $500.
I went to Vegas for a week and didn't even spend $2,000.
She is bae in music for you.
I
would love to know what you spend on your husband.
You got meet and greets for Pink? The 2,000 makes a little bit more sense now.
No, it doesn't.
It,
At the end of the day, she's another human.
again, too much.
You don't get to just like absorb her experiences.
Again, too much.
Hi.
But
Hi. Shake it. Nice to meet you.
Hmm.
Can you feel and experience everything that I've ever done in my fucking life right now?
yes.
I need to leave.
The 2,000 then makes, meet and greet aside, a regular dude. She could come
Not
up
for
to,
$2,000.
She could come up to me at the concert, kiss me on the mouth, and grab a handful, and I would be like, I paid $2,000 for this.
You paid $2,000 for the reach around.
There are a lot of people to me
She
that
isn't just music. You're right. No artist is, but you're not paying for anything more than the music. Like you meet them. Okay, cool. Give me a hug. What the fuck, man? I'm sorry. I just don't get it.
I don't understand it either. But now,
If you love it,
now
it's
hold
your
on,
money.
hold on. Here's something that we can put into context. Is this like when it comes to like going to shows and like doing like the meet and greet with, you know, whoever you're going to see, is that the thing? Is that like your thing to do? Like your, I wouldn't say a hobby because that's the most expensive hobby in the world. Probably not. I take that back. But is that like your like main thing that you like to do? Is to like go to concerts, meet and greet, etc.? Is that like the thing where like you're not just Pink?
I guess we'll contextualize this way. Would you spend $2,000 on the opportunity to be weird with Dan from Story of the Year?
No.
Okay, well.
Wait, say that again?
What the fuck just happened?
It did this when I was doing the testing. When when it was just me and you talking back and forth, or well, it was you talking to me and then I was talking.
My hall pass.
What was the question?
My hall pass. What my hall pass? What? I need clarification on this hall pass because I only know one hall pass.
I think it's the hall pass that you're thinking of.
So are you saying that, like, Pink is the female that you've selected for said hall pass, where it's like, hey, honey, who can I get freaky with that's not me? Or, like, you use Pink as your excuse to execute your hall pass?
Okay. So, we love you, Mel. Thank you for being here.
What are you doing?
But that's crazy.
Oh.
And take it from somebody who I've spent like $100 to meet somebody. We go to a convention. Well, we haven't gone well, actually, we were just at one. Never mind. We go to a convention in. That's. Now, what did we just talk about?
I'm reading email.
You don't need to read an email.
I do.
You can read the email.
I need to read that email.
After we're done.
I need that email.
Yeah.
I need that mail.
What's the difference between now and an hour from now?
Look, I'm having a Nick fit. Tolerate me.
You're going to have to start putting a Zyn in or something.
I am. I literally am. Like, I was going to stop and get my fucking Adderall and Zyn today on my way here, and then that got derailed.
Oh, I'm not blaming you for having the money to do it and enjoy it.
Wait, you get two? Hold up. She gets
I'm
two
just
hall
saying
passes?
that I don't understand
Pink and
it.
Blake Shelton? Blake Shelton?
That's the thing. That's what
Blake fucking Shelton?
I think there could be a better selection.
Jesus Christ. Hi.
But that's your thing. That's fine. No.
I get what I want. Okay. I like that. I get what I want. I get what I want.
Since you've been gone.
Since you've been gone.
We go to a convention
I can.
called Monster Mania, where a bunch of I don't know if that's the word for them. We see a bunch of like people that were in movies and TV shows and stuff, and you pay money and you can get a picture with them, get them to sign something, and depending on who they are and how popular they are, they'll have a little conversation with you. Like we met Rob Schneider, we met Danny Trejo, we met Charlie Hunnam, we met Katie Seagal, I met Ric Flair, Kane, Lita. Like we met a bunch of people, like wrestlers and movie people. So like, but again, that's like $50, $60, $100 depending on who it is, not $2,000.
I don't need a hall pass. I do what I want. And who I want. And what I want.
My hall pass
when
is
I
my
want.
wife.
You need help, and I gotta pee. Show him your Super Nintendo collection while I'm gone.
Oh, you want me to show my Super Nintendo collection?
It's on the fucking list.
There was a maybe. Do you see the
I
question
gotta
mark
pee.
after it? So while you're peeing, I
I'm
guess.
gonna piss myself.
Okay.
All right, fine.
Okay, Andy. Hang on 1 second. Let me grab the Super Nintendo collection. If I had a hall pass, who would it be? I don't even know. I really don't. I don't know, like Rachel McAdams or something, like just to think off the top of my head. I really don't know. But I guess since Andy's gone, I'll show off my Super Nintendo collection. It's not very large. It's minimal. We'll start with the box stuff. I have Super Mario All-Stars. This was one I had to have in the box just because it's a staple Mario game. It has all the ones that I love. It has the Lost Levels in it. I got it. I think it was pretty relatively cheap. So I picked it up a while ago. Or maybe I traded for it. I can't remember. I'm a big Star Wars fan. I have the 3 original movie posters hanging here. So I have the Super Empire Strikes Back. I played this as a kid. I don't remember much of it now, but I thought it would be cool as like just a display piece to have it in the box. I played it when I got it, and it was not as good as I remember and really hard. So I'll have to go back to that at some point. And then I got this in a trade with a guy that I do a lot of deals with at a dealership I work for. So I got Star Fox. The box is pretty beat up, and it doesn't have like the little container that holds the cartridge in place. I haven't played Star Fox in quite a while, so I don't have any input on that. And then the loose cartridges I have here, the light might reflect, so you might not be able to see. Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, because Mortal Kombat is probably, I'd say, the best fighting game, in my opinion, or fighting game franchise. We've got Turtles in Time, because what needs to be said about Turtles in Time? It's fantastic. And it's a staple in every Super Nintendo collection. Super Mario World, again, staple in any Super... If you have a Super Nintendo, you have this game, because why wouldn't you? It's one of the best Mario games. Not the best, but one of the best. We've got Secret of Mana. I remember playing this RPG when I was a kid. I haven't played it now, but it is on my list of things to play when I get to the longer list of games. We've got Donkey Kong Country 2. I have this. I got it in a trade when I did my Xbox kiosk trade with a guy off Marketplace. And Contra 3, The Alien Wars, again, because I got it in the trade and I was playing the original Contra for the NES, so I figured why not get that and try and play it. I'm really bad at Contra games. So that's my Super Nintendo collection. It's very minimal. I've been back and forth on like selling stuff, picking up stuff, and I haven't picked up a game in a while, so that's my humble little Super Nintendo set. And when you say the Dark Falcon, do you mean the Millennium Falcon, or do you mean the Death Star? Because there is no... Thank you. There is no Dark Falcon. Do you mean the Millennium Falcon? Is it like a big, giant one? And Legos, I would love to have a Lego like collection, like get the Millennium Falcon, the Dark Falcon. I literally almost said, well, send a picture, but you can't do that. I'm going to look it up now, because now I'm curious on what exactly a Dark Falcon is. Dark Falcon. Of course, my Google's going to be slow. Oh, here it is. What in the world is the Dark Falcon? Oh, it's from Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy Disney Plus special. Okay, that's what it is. That makes sense. That's why I didn't hear of it. My wife almost got me the R2D2 one that you can build, but again, if I go down that road, that's a slippery slope because I'm just gonna have another shelf that just has Lego stuff on it. So it's not really what I'm trying to do. Collecting games and playing golf is expensive enough. You have to call a number to go get it out of the cage? That's a little insane. I hate... They have that with the steelbooks at Best Buy. You had to, they had a big, cage that you had to look through. Yeah, I would love to put together, a Lego set. That would be very pleasing for my brain. But, again, it would just be a hard addiction where I'm just like... Ah! So, I just avoid that altogether. Because that... not the road I want to go down. Not at all. Oh, I forgot that we have another topic to talk about when Andy gets back down here, if he ever gets back down here. He's a friend I met in League when he was just 15, and now he's 22 and comes to stay with us. There was a guy that we met. I was in a Discord. We played games. We played Call of Duty and stuff together, and he came up for an old friend's wedding. First time we ever met him, he came up for the wedding. And then 1 year for vacation, we went down to Florida, and he showed us around and hung out with us pretty much the whole time when we were down there. He was... Sit down. See what I put up with?
Oh, yeah. Oh. This is Contra. This is my favorite game when I was a boy. I used to play it late at night when my parents went to bed. I'd sit there. I'd just pretend I was in a mall.
Did you say you pretended that you were in a mall?
Yeah. I would pretend I was in a mall.
All right, you're creeping me out.
At the GameStop, playing it on the fucking kiosk, you idiot. Not shooting up the... Ugh. Get the wrong idea about me.
More action than I've gotten in a while. Whoa. Whoa.
Pennsylvania, fix that.
I knew you were gonna, I knew you were gonna go there. I knew you were gonna go there.
I didn't say anything about you.
God, you are sick. There is one topic that we skipped over, but we're gonna touch it now.
Would it?
If you haven't seen, people are going nuts over this. We're late to the party, but we record once a week. So, well, once every other week, I guess it would be. But,
OA.
She meant PA. The PS4, PS5 Pro just got announced, and boy, oh boy, what a shit show that thing is.
PS5 Pro is nothing more than a cash grab.
It's really bad. So
This don't have a disk drive.
it doesn't have a disk drive.
A what drive?
It doesn't have a disk drive.
Crisping disk?
You have to buy the disk drive separate if you want the disk drive, which is $80. So not only... Oh, I didn't say the price of it, did I? It's $700.
$700.
I hate whatever you're doing here. $700 with no disc tray. So if you want just the console and the disc tray with tax, you're spending $800.
$800 for a disc tray?
I take this back. Your chair is in jeopardy.
Fuck you.
That's 2 Pink concerts.
No, actually, 3 of those is a fucking Pink concert.
So that is insane to me that they think that they can price it like this. And they showed like there's all these games that are like upgraded for the PS5 Pro. But they're games that have already been out. So if you have a PS5 and you've already played them,
upgraded how?
What the video that they showed is the most insulting video that you could ever watch when you're watching to try and get like a grasp on what's different.
What's different?
Nothing. The backgrounds are just a little bit more clearer. Would you look at that? Our colors are a little more vibrant. We have a little bit more computing power. Like, it's the most... They were like, it's going to be 4K 60 frames, but some of them might not be. Some of them might be 4K 30. Hey, that's pretty much what this thing was promised to do.
How many pixels can you fit in your asshole?
Here's the thing.
I want a 4K screen for my colonoscopy.
Here's the thing. If you're willing to spend $800 so that you can play a more graphically appealing version of a game, do yourself a favor. Go buy a PC.
The crisping disc is $100.
Like, it's like $79, $80. So with tax, you're looking at like an $800 purchase if you want the disc drive.
Oh no, with tax, it's over $800 with the disc drive.
So
tax is
like
not hard to compute.
If you're really worried about frame rate and all of this, buy a PC.
I think there's another answer. If you're that worried about frame rate, please seek out a therapist and redefine your life.
I mean, that too. But, like...
now that you bought it.
The only reason that I have... I really hate the person next to me. And I'm really thinking about instead, I just move myself to the other side of the desk. And I just try to do this by myself.
You were thinking that like 2 days ago.
I'm currently thinking about it.
Well,
so, the only reason that I have a PS5 is because I did a massive trade-in with a bunch of my games to a buddy. And I was like, well, I liked getting trophies. I wanted to play Horizon Forbidden West, which I still have not beaten. Okay, we're going to reevaluate this.
dude.
We're going to reevaluate how we do the podcast here. Should we have a rotating person in this second chair, or should it be just me in the chair over by the desk? Let me know in the comments what you think. The only reason I have a PS5 is because I did that trade-in with a buddy of mine. And I wanted to play like one or two of the PS5 exclusive games, or the whatever. So, only reason I have one.
How did you get a PS5 out of the trade-in, though?
Because I traded him a bunch of stuff, and it was like, I don't know, like it was like $1,500 in value.
Oh, wow.
And he gave me, he had a used one because he was doing giveaways on his whatnot. So he was like, "Do you want this instead? And end cash on top of it?" And I was like, Yeah, you know what? Yeah, like I'll
I mean, that makes sense.
So I got that and I got some cash, and then I went to Best Buy and I ended up picking up an extra controller, and I picked up Sackboy, which is like basically Little Big Planet. So I had it originally hooked up to the basement TV so that me and Alicia could play Sackboy. She can't stay up past 8 o'clock, basically. So instead, I moved it over to my game room side of the basement, and it's been over here ever since. And I've played it here and there. I don't have much time to game, but I do find myself playing my PS5 more often than not when I choose to sit down and play a game. And so, like, but I'm also not the kind, like, if a game looks pretty, I'll be like, oh, wow, this looks pretty. Like, when I played Horizon Forbidden West, I was like, wow, this looks gorgeous. And when when I was playing the Astro's Playroom, I was like, this game looks really good. The colors are really vibrant. It's really crystal clear. It plays very smoothly. Like, that's what I care about in my games. Like, if it plays smoothly and I'm just enjoying the experience as a whole. The graphics are just like a little cherry on top. So when I pre-built my PC, I got a pretty like nice PC, nice desktop, and I got it set up for 1440p, which is between 1080p and 4K, if I'm saying that correctly, right? 1440 is between.
I mean,
those
it does fall between them. It's not like dead in the middle between.
So
them,
1080p, like if you get a
step up from 1080.
Yeah, if you get a PC and you're playing 1080p, but with high refresh rates, like if you're getting like 200 frames a second, it's buttery smooth gameplay, and you're not gonna care about how crisp graphics look because it looks fine. 1440p is a little bit sharper, a little bit more vibrant the way that it looks, but it's naturally going to be more demanding to run, so you're going to get a little bit less on your frames. So my PC, for example, can run 1440p, and it can run it at like 120 to 150 frames per second. Again, buttery smooth gameplay. There's not a hiccup in that whole entire gaming experience unless something's going on with my PC. So when you're looking at a $800 console for just the console, and you're looking at playing 4K, but you're not even getting guaranteed 60 frames per second, is ridiculous. And here's the thing, you need the TV to support that. So not only are you spending $800 for your console, now you're looking at an extra $800 to $1,000 or more for the TV to properly get what you're supposed to be getting out of your console. And then if you want PlayStation Plus, there's another $160, $180. I forget what it is now.
Well, there's a piece of this that you're also missing. If it's online play, your fucking internet needs to be able to support all that to keep it from lagging.
So now you're looking at like spending, and that's not even including games. That's $70, $60, $70 a pop. So when you're flat, like you're looking at like
Probably
$2,000
at least with a decent sized TV
to be able to get what you're supposed to be getting out of your console.
Ping must be good. It's more than just ping.
Like if you want to play 1080p and you want high frame rates, you don't have to spend that much on your PC. You can get a good mid-tier PC, and monitors are fucking everywhere on Marketplace. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg on a monitor. You can get keyboards and mice aplenty. You don't need anything fancy. And you have Steam as a storefront that is giving you deals out the ass. I have 250 plus games on my Steam. I have not spent over $200 to get all of those.
I don't believe that.
Guarantee you. I guarantee you. Because they have so many sales throughout the year. They have the summer sale, the winter sale, the spring sale, holiday sale. Like, they're constantly constantly going on sale, and some games are discounted so steep. They're like $1 to $2. Like, you're not gonna find that with a console. And I hate to be the guy that's like, just build a PC. But when you're looking at spending $800 something for a console, you might want to just look into getting a PC, because that's probably your best bet if you want if you want that stuff. Like,
well, I agree largely. There's just something about a console.
There is something about a console. There's something about having a console, but the thing about the console for me is opening the disc case, pulling out the disc, putting the disc in, loading it up, and then playing it with the controller in your hand.
Controller.
But you can play with your controller on your PC.
Yeah, you could, but...
And they make it so easy to connect them now.
I agree. That's all the fucking console is.
Basically now, yeah.
No, even then, that's all it was.
Yeah.
Was a dumbed down PC. Because, like, you think about Nintendo, you know, PCs that actually did something were huge.
Yeah, and you want to know the crazy thing? The PS5 came out in 2020. Okay. How many PS5 exclusive games do you think there are?
18?
There's like 20.
Okay.
And some of them aren't even original IPs. Some of them are remakes and remasters.
It's not advantageous to limit yourself to one console anymore.
No, it's not even that. They're also available on PS4.
Okay. I mean, that makes sense in itself, because PS4 you can still buy new, can't you?
Like the console?
Yeah.
You could for a while when the PS5s were hard to get.
So if you're still gonna sell last generation shit, I mean,
that's the thing that's crazy. Like, in my personal opinion, I think the PS4 was the last console generation to actually matter.
That looks more like a PC anyway.
Yeah, it's huge. It's ridiculously large.
It needs that much space to cool the bit.
Yeah.
Now here's one for you. Give me a water-cooled PS5.
I mean, if they want to keep pushing the boundaries of what a console can do, you're gonna eventually get to the point where you're gonna have to.
Whatever. No idea what that was in context to, because the latency that we were talking about.
Yeah, the YouTube latency is really bad.
It's so bad, guys.
I just bought Z's PS5.
Z's? Who's Z's?
So with PS5 Pro being a digital-only console...
It's not digital-only. You can buy a disc drive.
Yeah.
It had a cooler on it?
So...
What had a cooler?
Do you think that is going... Like, with all of the push for the digital stuff, do you think if, like, by the next console generation... Is she vacuuming up there?
Yes! Jesus.
With the next console generation, like PS6 and Xbox, whatever they decide to call it.
Microsoft's not going to release another one.
Yeah, I guess that's true. They did say that they weren't interested in that. But if they go next generation, what more can you possibly do?
Out of a console?
Out of a console. What more can you possibly do?
I mean, PC's always had the edge on console.
100%.
Like,
but
constantly.
If you're trying to sell hardware, what can you promise us at this point past 4K 60?
That you got to go over 60.
Yeah, you have to go. You have to go 120.
But the problem is the TVs have to catch up. The advantage Sony has is that they're a manufacturer of both, so they can kind of align that from a product standpoint. But the bigger thing that you need there is a product manager or somebody of that capacity in a role where they're overseeing both lines of business.
Yeah.
So they can perpetuate that to reality. I think the other thing you can do with console that clearly was not a fucking thought for PS5, but they did have the PS Portal, that is cool, but I don't like its implementation. I think you find a way...
If you hear a bunch of banging, that's Alicia vacuuming.
To throw the dice in the trash. You have to, so that's where Nintendo comes into the game with the Switch and what they're going to do with the Switch. If you were to take a Nintendo Switch and cross it with a PS5, I think at that point you find yourself in a very, very lucrative position where, especially in context with the TVs, if you have a TV that supports it, where you have a console that you can dock into a TV that supports 120 or 150 at 4K resolution, or I'm telling you now, 4K isn't the limit.
No, it's definitely not. They have 8K TVs, but
right.
If you want an 8K TV, then have fun.
Right.
Yeah, babies do literally. It's supposed to be end of the month, but she ain't making it till then.
But if you get all of that in alignment, where you have a dockable console that you can run on a 4K TV that supports 120, and then you have also a handheld that doesn't necessarily support 4K resolution on that OLED, but it's a decent size to where it's iPad sized instead of being Switch sized, and you have 120 frames per second on that, maybe chime in with Apple, get the Retina display for it or something, throw that on there, detachable controllers, so that way you can just pop them off and then build a cradle similar to the PS5 controller, where those just kind of click in instead of the slot in, the little jaunt shit that I hate. But they click in, it's almost like it's got two wings on it. Two sides of the PS5 controller, and it's got the joystick on the controller.
Yeah.
And then you can pop those off and then click them into a little cradle. Maybe the cradle has the touchpad that you get from the PlayStation line of products. I think that if you take that and make that your next console, that would sell insanely well.
So I think you're definitely on to something here. In my opinion, I think this is the way that they should go forward, is the way that they have the PS5 and they had the Portal as the companion. I think that's genius. You can't have
the portable aspect of it be strictly dependent on the console.
So I think what they should have done with the Portal is given you just enough space as storage on it to store 4 games. Give you enough space to store 4 games. Make it 256 gigabytes.
That's not big enough.
Well, that's what I think. Well, no, that's 64. But
one game is 80.
Allow you to put an extra. How hard is it to allow you to put a SD card in there or something? How difficult is that?
It's not hard at all.
So give you 256 gigs to internally to store stuff on, but give you the option to get an SD card if you would like to slap in there for additional storage.
Well, you could do that.
Basically what the Steam Deck did.
Right. Or if you didn't just abandon physical media, you could even go as far as to put a damn disk drive in it. That's not huge.
I don't think you put a disk drive in it.
On the back, if we're talking iPad size, that's not big at all.
See, I think that what they do is keep doing things like you're doing with the consoles, but have a companion handheld that has onboard storage so that you can actually play the games from the storage. You don't have to rely on streaming. And have a screen like you would have on an iPhone or an iPad, the updated Retina display, stuff like that, stuff that looks crisp and nice but doesn't eat your battery. Do something like that, and have it to where like you can conveniently transfer your saves between the two. Like if I'm up in my living room and I want to play on the handheld, I can play, say I'm playing Metal Gear. I can play Metal Gear on the handheld while I'm, just up. The wife's watching TV, the kid's playing with toys, doing whatever. I'm just sitting in the chair, and I can sit down and play a game, and I can just pause it if I want to and set it down, go cook dinner, come back, pick it up, play it. Everybody goes to bed. I can put it in sleep mode, come down to my game room, hop on the PlayStation 5, and immediately play from where I left off up there.
So that's the problem. In order to do that with a portal device and have a separate console, you have to be running from the console the whole time.
Or just have a dock that plugs into the PS5 that is able to transfer the data inward. Basically, like what the Switch does. When you dock the Switch, you can remove the controller. It's like the Switch is the console. Yes.
Well, that's because the processing.
You should be able to come up with some kind of way to dock the handheld to that way it can transfer the data to.
What I'm saying is that
the console where you can pick up.
It doesn't make sense to build two separate processing units at that point. Like why? If you just want to be able to transfer it from one to the other, it should lean on one processing unit.
Yeah.
And then
I'm not saying it should transfer like the whole thing. It should just transfer the data from the game to the console.
And if you have one processing unit, you don't really have to transfer the data. You just have to decide which one is doing the work and which one is surfacing the work.
Yeah. Well, then you have to have it as a streaming product then.
Right.
Which is what the Portal is, and apparently the Portal like they've been like really keeping up with like the Portal, and they've made it basically like where it actually makes a lot of sense for somebody to get it at this point.
I'm sure. I'm just saying like Switch does
Which
it one
is
way.
smart, yeah.
Switch does it the way where you have the processor on you all the time, and like when you dock it, it's there with the TV.
Yeah.
You detach the controls.
But the Switch, like with Nintendo, their main thing isn't pushing graphical fidelity. They're not pushing 4K 60. They're not trying to push all that. They're just like, we'll do what we want to do, and you're gonna buy it anyway. And we're just like, you know what, Nintendo? You're right.
It's also yeah, but it's terribly hard to fit that in something that small.
Exactly, that's the point. So like, if you're doing that, then you have to sacrifice the other.
Right.
So
now, when quantum computing finally becomes mainstream and they figure it out for good, then consoles are completely redefined.
Yeah.
Quantum computing isn't really like a candidate for that kind of use case just yet, but it very easily could be.
Yeah.
Simply because then you have the ability to kind of just morph things in the processor, and that's maybe we'll get there. Maybe it will never happen, but
yeah, I mean, I think because I'm one that likes convenience. I like to
we know
sit down, play my PlayStation, and then if I'm upstairs, like I would love to be able to play, something up there where I can actually continue playing and chew at my backlog down here. But
backlog.
Yeah, backlog.
Did you really just use
my backlog of games? That's
not a backlog.
That's a backlog.
A backlog is something that you like. You line up for work. You have a collection.
I have a collection, and it's lined up for me to play. I just don't have enough time in the day.
It's not a backlog.
It's a backlog.
You don't have to do it.
I would like to do it. You don't have to do the work either.
If I want to get paid, I do.
Exactly. So like having that convenience factor would be nice, because like I like playing things on my PlayStation because I like getting the trophies. I like having all of my like achievement based stuff in one spot. I don't like to space it out like between PC and between different things.
Are you cheating on OBS?
What do you mean?
You have Streamlabs downloaded.
I had Streamlabs for when I was going to stream, but then I never did. but Streamlabs has plugins for OBS. So they kind of go hand in hand at this point. They're basically the same thing.
Yes.
So yeah, like I would like to, like, I would love to have a Portal, but you know, I just haven't gotten one yet because I have to be a responsible adult.
I think we should just build our own console.
Yeah, we have. Well, you probably have the know-how to do that. I don't.
I don't know. Maybe.
But I just don't see how consoles keep evolving to like compete with a PC. Like eventually you're going to get at this brick wall where if you want to make it push the boundaries of graphics, it's going to cost $800.
Aside from like the gyro features and the touchpad, explain to me what's different between the PS1 and the PS5 other than graphic capability.
Probably not much
and, like, processing speed.
I mean, yeah, like probably not a whole lot.
It's been the same product for decades.
But you have like these, like with all of that, like you had these jumps in the graphical capabilities and what games became and what they look like, and like each generation you had these jumps that were like, oh shit.
Well, and it looked like that, but it wasn't really a jump. Because if you think about it, each new release of a console just represents a snapshot of technology at a point in time. So if you're releasing a console every 7 years, of course it's going to be a jump. Technology's been 7 years between each.
But now we're getting to the point where like we're at this like brick wall where like, we're not really like graphical fidelity in terms of like how realistic it can look and stay at a reasonable price for a consumer. Well, how much do we really need out of our games?
I don't think it's so much a brick wall as it is we're pushing the limits of the human body's capability to see the enhancements.
I guess, yeah, but like what's stopping somebody from like basically making a game that's real life, that's basically just one big FMV that's playable?
Doesn't make sense.
I mean, that's as realistic can get, is just basically shoot a movie but program it so that you can interact with it.
Sure.
In a way for a game like storyline.
They're not going into the aspect of human controlled features.
But we're gradually trying to push our games to look more real every single time we release graphics cards or consoles. Like that's the goal. Is to make them look better.
Well, and my point is that that's kind of pointless because the true immersion in reality, or virtual reality, I think is the buzzword everybody uses, is defeated by sitting on a couch with a controller.
Yeah.
So one without the other, you still don't.
So then
you still don't check the box.
So then it comes back to what I was saying when we started this conversation, is I don't really care about my graphics. I care about the experience of the game.
They went down that road.
And apparently, nobody can create a good experience in a game either. Because they're trying to push 1,000 games a year, and they're sprinkling all of their power to work on 1,000 titles, where if they would instead cut that in half and distribute more people on said titles to get more, to focus more and make it be like, hey, guys, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this game's garbage. And they're like, all right, scrap it, pull that team, focus on this.
Nobody scraps anything.
That's the problem.
Well, I don't know if it's really a problem. I think it's more planning and
when you put out a game that you spent 8 years of development time and $250 million on, and you're shutting it down 2 weeks after it released.
It's poor planning.
That's not the only game that's flopped, though. Like, there's so many games now that just flop on release because they have their F team working on this, and they have their A team working on this title, and they have their B team working on this title, they have their C team working on this title. Like, stop trying to put, like I said this last week, like, stop trying to push out so many titles and actually focus on the quality of the titles.
So I think
that should be first and foremost the thing, because when you make a good game, it's going to make you money. Hand over fist.
I think the problem, though, is that it's not just one entity. Like, you don't just have the Volturi of video games developing this shit. You've got like hundreds of companies who are not trying to orchestrate or coordinate in any way, shape, or form.
Well, that's why the evolution of indie games has been so prevalent, is because the AAA games are shitting the bed.
Yeah.
So indie games are like, all right, we're going to step up our game. And that's who's getting a bunch of the praise now, is the indie developers and the indie games. Like, you know, there's so many games that people are like, oh my God, this is so good. And I'm like, I have never even heard of that. What is that? And they're like, you know, this developer made it. And I'm like, I've never even heard of that. Well, and I look it up, and it's like a team of like 20 people that have made this game, and they've been working on it for 5 years, and it's their passion project, and they have just nailed the storyline. They've nailed the gameplay. They've just nailed everything on every box imaginable. And it's like, that's what AAA used to be.
Well,
when PlayStation was bringing out the next, you know, big title, it was like, yes, like hell yes. Like, this is going to be, you knew it was going to be good.
So you have
like the PS4 era. Like, that was like game after game after game after game of you know, Sony being like, look, we are firing on all cylinders. We've got this shit covered. Like, we're putting out banger after banger. You can't even keep up.
That's Sony.
And now they're just like diarrheaing all over. Everybody's diarrheaing.
Diarrheaing. Dude, like, everything's development centric in games now. There's no planning. There's no, like, the storyboarding is being more minimalized in favor for what, you know,
trying to squeeze as much content into it as possible to get people to play it as long as possible. And
well, stuff like that, but also it's like, hey, do we really need to spend time doing this, or can we do it while we do something else? Some cases, yeah, you can, but there are definitely times where you need direction before you start to go on your hike.
Yeah.
You know, you don't just start walking in the woods and hope you wind up at, like, let's say, for instance, let's say we start in Frederick, Maryland, and we're at the base of the Appalachian Mountains, like the foothills, and we set out and we want to get to West Virginia. You don't just fucking start walking.
Yeah, you have to plan. You have to plan your trip.
Exactly, because you start walking, and then you know, get to the fucking beach at Sandy Point, and you're like, well, shit.
We took a wrong turn at Albuquerque.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, that's kind of what happens in a lot of cases with a lot of games, is they start to, you know, just like, okay, we've got an idea, let's start building it, and then they start building it, and they plan while they build, and plan while they build, and then the next thing you know, it's like, well, I don't know if that's really what we wanted to do, and then the guy's like, I don't want to hurt his feelings, so I'm not going to fucking tell him. So then, you know, they go
Your
further
game's
down.
Great, man. Keep up the good work.
Well, exactly. Like, people are afraid to give feedback now because they don't want to come off as, you know, insensitive and shit, and next thing you know, you've got Siphon Filter on PS5, except it still looks like Siphon Filter.
Like, and then here's another thing that I was thinking about the other day that really kind of irks me a little bit, is they decided to remake Metal Gear Solid 3. Okay? I mean, I get it. It's like one of the, like, more regarded Metal Gears in terms of, like, the games. But why not do a ground-up remake of the first one?
Why remake any of them? Why not make a new one? Why are we so hung up on regurgitating shit that we liked when we were younger, just so we can try to ruin it?
So, I understand your point of view there, but I really think that, especially when it comes to something as involved as like the first Metal Gear, is you have this concept of this story, and it's spanned over multiple releases, and it's evolved into this like huge lore-filled story. With the first one, like, you were limited by what time period we were in and what you were able to do on the console to portray that story and the gameplay. And it's fantastic. But I think if you gave that game the remake treatment and you made it like a modern day, like, third person, and like stuck to original, but like really focused on like making it what we experienced when we first played it, to put it with modern stuff, like, I think that it would be a phenomenal game in the story, and it would just, like, I don't know, I think it would do something that the first one did, but it would do it in like something that's more modern and easier to pick up.
Here's why that wouldn't work from a product standpoint. One, you can reuse all the elements from the story and make a brand new game. I mean, you can find a way to mask it so it's like the same exact thing, and people don't realize that it's the same thing. Two, when you accept the gravity and the responsibility of, hey, this is a remake of Metal Gear, that's the point where people are going to be looking at every little thing, and anything that is different or off is going to get nitpicked to hell, and it's going to get bad ratings. That's when. So what you do there, I'm not saying you give yourself
but
like
you can walk that line too of making quality of life changes where it sticks to the original, or it changes this part, but it nods to the original, and then people like will accept it as what it is, because then like you've recognized, like, look, we recognize that was a thing, and you loved that part of the game, but we did change it. I hope you don't mind. And people are going to be like, I'm sad it's not there, but thank you.
Right, sure. They'll be like, thank you, but they're still sad either way.
I mean, yes, but they're going to be less critical.
Sure, but they're still sad either way, and I think you can do the same thing in like giving nods to the old stuff with a completely new, like, what was the last Metal Gear? What was it, 5?
No.
Or 7?
It was. Well, it was. I think it was Survive, but I don't think that counts. That was like a failed attempt at an online game. I think the last one might have been the one for PS3. It was Revengeance.
What was the last numbered one?
I think 5.
I would
like with Solid Snake. I think it was 5.
I would do a Metal Gear 6 with Solid Snake on PS5 that basically pulls a like the Force Awakens type deal where it has nods to all of the original 5.
Oh, what if they did a new story, but you played in flashbacks that were from the other games?
That would be amazing too.
That would be genius.
Or like, I mean, even like if you did Metal Gear Snake, or Metal Gear 6, you could even go like a different angle to altogether and do a Metal Gear Solid where it's like, hey, this is this guy, and then second or third game in, you find out it's like this long lost son of Solid Snake that he didn't even know he had, and this guy's like a killing machine, and there's so many different ways you can twist it. People just need to fucking pick their heads up out of their asses and start dreaming of things again and imagining things instead of just saying, oh, I love that so much, let's do it.
And then poorly executing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's because
giving you a half-assed version.
You set yourself
because they
up
were
for
too
failure.
busy trying to make 15 other games all at the same time.
You set yourself up for failure because the second you adopt a remake, you give yourself a benchmark. And I consider, like, in a sense, it's a benchmark. In another sense, it's putting the noose around your neck.
Yeah,
And
because
it's up
if
to
you don't,
you
if
whether
you don't
fall.
deliver, people are going to light you up.
Right. So just take a new idea, pay homage to what it was,
Mm-hmm.
and give us more progression into a story that's already crafted, and give us more of a story. It's like finish. It's as if Dickens wrote half of A Tale of Two Cities, and that was enough. Let's finish the novel instead of rewriting the first 10 chapters again.
Yeah.
But, I digress.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things like that the gaming industry as a whole needs to step back, look at what they're doing, and be like, all right.
Remakes are easy marketing money. Like, it's easy marketing because it's already been sold once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, you need to do things that make sense, and you need to stop trying to cash in on what's trending. Because if you don't do it then and there, you're going to miss the trend,
Ain't nothing
and it's
trending.
just going to flop.
Flop. I'm going to do it all night. Kick me out of the chair. No, whatever. It's funny. They like it.
Do you want to talk about anything else, Andy, or have
What time is it?
It's 9 o'clock.
I mean, I probably could get her home to bed if there's anything else you want to cover.
I don't think so. I
Probably-
think
Maybe
we pretty much.
appreciate everybody that watches.
Yeah. We thank you, whoever came in and joined us and talked in the chat.
This will be my last time seeing you.
Like, comment, subscribe. Go give us a follow on Instagram. Go give us a follow on Twitch. We're over there now. We've got a nice little special guest coming in next week on Monday. So if you want to tune in Monday at 7 p.m., 7 p.m. Eastern time.
I'm glad I'm finally getting this information.
I told you that in the text. We're having a musician on, and we're going to talk to him about some game stuff, some music stuff. His name's Corey Wells. Go check him out. His music's incredible. We're going to have him on Monday, like I said, 7 p.m. Eastern time. I don't think we're going to do the podcast on Thursday, for those of you who are here. Since we are doing the episode with Corey on Monday, I think that's going to kind of take place as a placeholder for our normal weekly thing. I'm not sure yet.
I'm still waiting to find a sub. So
we have to see. Well, if I have to do it by myself, that's fine. I'll do that. That's no big deal.
I didn't know if you were going to do Thursday if I couldn't make Monday. So.
Well, I think since we're doing
and you might be
a podcast,
you might be.
I also might be busy having a baby, so we will let you. Plus, next Thursday would be our streaming games night, so it's kind of like
that. I don't enjoy it at all. It's not my escape from reality for 3 hours.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I said, comment, subscribe, go follow us on Instagram. Comment on any of our videos, watch our old videos, do whatever you would like to do. We appreciate you tuning in, coming on. Any last words, Andy?
He's Dad's Game Room.
Thank you. Bye-bye.